a bit of fear, director level, manager level. Now they touch, feel, see these cars and they're like, wow, we are in trouble.
Elon Musk met top officials and was quoted by Chinese press as saying he was fully confident in the Chinese market.
Elon had stated a goal of selling 20 million vehicles by 2030 for Tesla. A large part of that linchpin strategy is to sell into the China market because it's the largest market in the world. Again, more context. About 22 million cars were sold in China in 2022, about 11 in Europe, and 13.5 million in the United States. And so if Tesla was to get 20% market share in the China market, they'd be at over 4 million units. That gets them well on their way to that 20 million number.
With all that talk of de-risking, China's EV sales demonstrate that there are some products where made in China is still indispensable.
NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto, these EV companies were set up around 2014 and 2015, and they were struggling, right? Wasn't it just in 2020 that NIO nearly went bankrupt? So how did these Chinese EV companies manage to turn around their fortunes so fast?
Pearl, you raised a great point. In 2009, the Chinese government decided that they were going to focus on the battery sector and the EV sector. And so NIO's particular story is interesting because they really leaned into design, customer engagement, and premium in the early years. And that almost pushed them into bankruptcy if it wasn't for the Hefei government. And so the Hefei government wrote them a couple $2 billion check, and they've been able to kind of weather that storm. Now they have 6-7 products in the market. You come to Shanghai Auto Show and you see all of the traffic at the Chinese automakers booths. I was at the Audi booth, and one of my favorite beautiful cars, the e-tron, the RS e-tron. And it took me less than 10 seconds to wait for somebody, and then I got in it myself. And then you go over to Zeekr, and they have just launched a Zeekr X, which is a small little car that I think is going to be less than 300,000 RMB or less than $40,000 in the China market. I waited 10 minutes for this little car because there were so many people that wanted to see it. And so the management of these European automakers also saw this, and then in disbelief, they got into the vehicles themselves. They closed the door. They heard the sound, that matches what they're traditionally able to do, and then looked at the technology on the instrument panel and the infotainment system, and jaws were dropped. I think there's a lot of disbelief, a lot of shock, but a bit of fear. Director level, manager level. Now they touch, feel, see these cars and they're like, wow, we are in trouble.
China accounted for just 4.2% of global EV exports 6 years ago. By 2022, it became 35%. Japan, by contrast, was the largest exporter of EVs in 2018, with a 24.5% share. In 2022, its share plummeted to 9.3%.
My first job was at a factory in Michigan, Orion Assembly Plant, and we built 5 cars, 3 different trims, so effectively 18 different cars every day, about 500,000 cars a year. And so I was grounded in the quality, reliability, how things sounded, how things should fit together. When I first landed in Beijing in 2009, I got into a BYD and it was not great. It was pretty bad. The doors were paper thin. You could hear everything. The fit and finish of the interiors weren't great. I was in Shanghai in April and visited BYD. The difference between 2009 and today is night and day.